is happening in the world. Sorry, guys, for the little misadventure. I just want to go on Valley Wonders and check. So, yes, thank you everybody for being. Actually, there's so, yeah. So we're going live, and it's been like this very mysterious things that are going on in the world. It seems like the world is burning, and let's just see a few videos before we start our live stream. So, so guys, what has been happening in the world? It's like ridiculous what is like really going on, and
bombed
let's
Russia,
just
and they've
hear.
blown up the only working nuclear power plant which Russia built and operates in Iran. And there are hundreds of Russian civilians who work in this power plant, and Israel might have killed them. Well, a few moments ago, Russia and Iran both announced that a projectile hit the Bushehr nuclear power plant in Iran.
Fazan, can you
This power plant
see
was
the
built
screen?
in 2008 by Russia, and it's operated and used by Russia on behalf of Iran. And Russia said, quote, "We categorically condemn what has occurred and call on all parties to exert every possible effort to de-escalate the situation in the vicinity of the Bushehr nuclear power plant." And something you need to know is that for this entire
So
war and
what
the
has
12-day
happened
war last
is that Russia just attacked the nuclear facility. Israel just attacked the nuclear facility in Iran, and that was a Russian nuclear facility, and there were a lot of Russian people who were working. And just before today, what really happened is what the Strait of Hormuz is like closed, and Trump is now, I don't know if it was Trump or if it was Israel, but someone bombed their LNG plant in this island, the Krang Island. And it's like a big devastation because ईरान की सारी पावर सप्लाई जो है वो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इस आइलैंड के ऊपर बेस करती थी. And now, since the bombing of this island, there's the world natural gas is now like 20% down the supplies. And then what Iran does is Iran also bombs Saudi oil fields as well as Qatar's oil fields, not only oil fields, also the gas and the LNG fields. So now there's a big disruption in the whole world's LNG supplies. And कौन से लोग सबसे ज़्यादा इससे हिट होंगे? आई गेस सबसे ज़्यादा जो है पाकिस्तान और इंडिया, क्योंकि इंडिया की जो है मोस्ट ऑफ द एलएनजी सप्लाई, हमने आपको लास्ट टाइम भी दिखाया था कि कैसे वो मोदी सिलेंडर लेकर घूम रहा है, मोदी जी को भी गैस नहीं मिल रही. तो इंडिया की काफ़ी ज़्यादा गैस आती है इस सारे कॉरिडोर से, ईरान से, एज वेल एज पाकिस्तान, विच मीन्स के पेट्रोल की कीमत तो हम लोग 400 एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं बड़े आराम से. कुछ अभी मैं एक पॉडकास्ट देख रहा था तो वो कह रहे थे कि 400 अभी होना चाहिए, गवर्नमेंट की सब्सिडीज़ की वजह से ये अभी आपको 320 का मिल रहा है. मगर गैस तो निश्ता बड़ा, gas will no longer exist in the whole Pakistan and in India. And फिर जैसे हमारे नानी और दादी जो है वो लकड़ी लगा के और लकड़ी को आग लगा के खाना बनाती थी, वही हम उस चीज़ के पर वापस आने लगे. Because it is 2026, हर 20-30 साल बाद ट्रेंड्स रिपीट होते हैं. अब गैस काफ़ी देर देख लिया, अब नेक्स्ट ट्रेंड है हमारा लकड़ियों से खाना बनाना. आई गेस के इसका टेस्ट रहता है लकड़ी, और हांडी भी जो है ना आपने मिट्टी की रखनी है क्योंकि आपको स्टील के बर्तन भी नहीं मिलने वाले. सो Mohammed Shehzad Malik is saying hello boss, and Noman Jat is saying hello. मोहम्मद शहजाद मलिक ये कौन है? शहजाद है हमारा. शहजाद हेलो, बहुत अच्छा लगा आप हमारी. ओए ये तो बैठी भी आए, हाँ दरवाज़ा खोल दे. सिचुएशन थोड़ी सी डायर हो चुकी भी है, क्योंकि अभी तो आपको समझ नहीं आ रहा, जो डिस्ट्रप्शन है वो ऑल द वे पूरे यूएस फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम को एक जो है ना डिप में लेकर आ सकती है। पूरे वर्ल्ड की इकोनॉमी और एनर्जी इस सारी जगह पे डिपेंड करती है, और अब सारी आपका गैस, आपका तेल, उसको आग लगी हुई है। सऊदी अरेबिया में आग लगी हुई है, हर जगह आग लगी हुई है। तो सिचुएशन इज़ नॉट दैट प्रिटी। एंड व्हाट अबाउट द फ्यूचर? Sorry guys. So the future also doesn't seem that good, because फ्यूचर के अंदर हम लोग क्या प्रिडिक्ट कर रहे हैं कि अगले 6 महीने साल बाद आपका जब फर्टिलाइजर्स जो है ना सॉरी जस्ट अ सेकेंड, मुझे पानी ला देगा या guys, I'll be back in just a second. भट्टी को बना दे एक अच्छी सी, और वापस आ गए हम लोग। So, everybody, there's actually 3 people with us, and let's just give it another start. Yes. एक light भी off हो गई है। Today, the Matrix is with us or against us. It's the Matrix attack, because the light has gone. My throat was a little itchy, so we got Milo, and let's just start the live stream again. So, what's up, everybody? We were just talking about कि जो अभी रिसेंट न्यूज़ अब आ रही है कि एलएनजी दुनिया की ख़त्म हो गई है, क्योंकि ईरान के ऊपर इसराइल ने अटैक किया है, एंड ट्रम्प हैज़ एक्चुअली थ्रोन इसराइल अंडर द बस, बिकॉज ट्रम्प के अब ये उसने ऐलान किया है कि ही डिडंट सपोर्ट Israel attacking the LNG supplies, and it was a big disaster on the behalf of Netanyahu. And he is very afraid because, in retaliation, what did Iran do? Iran has just bombed Qatar's LNG, it has also bombed Saudi Arabia's LNG. We'll look at some videos as well, because these things are getting really, really somewhere else. So let's just watch Andrew Tate first, what he's saying. Oh, and let me put my headphones back on. So yeah, so this is Mr. Andrew Tate. who just came out with his little speech. Hold on a second. So yes, these sorts of videos are going on in the internet. That your Shibaz is actually the country Sheikh is actually doing a catwalk in front of TV and Donald Trump is there clapping. All of these guys are like spineless which Qatari Shahzada is this? So Andrew Tate, I don't know, he invested a lot of money in Dubai and he was like a brand ambassador. Andrew Tate was saying a lot of good things about Dubai and he was saying a lot of things about crypto and he even launched his coin. But what is happening with Andrew Tate? He has a video out which says, all your investments will fail, so will you.
And I went all in on Bitcoin. Oh, well, that didn't work out. Then gold rallied. Well, gold's gone up. Who believes in gold? That's just an old shiny rock. Hasn't even got a blockchain. How do you even prove that gold's real gold? You can't verify it. So, you gave up on gold. Then it goes all the way up to $5,000 an ounce. Like, there's no way I'm ever going to buy this shit. And then there's some regional instability, you know? A world war. So you finally think, fuck it. Gold's at the top, but there's a world war. What else can I buy? Dubai real estate's off a cliff. American real estate's off a cliff. Nobody can sell a house anywhere. Stock market's completely wrecked. Bitcoin's wrecked. I may as well buy some gold. Gold's just crashed. That's right. Universe hates you. It just hates you. Like, none of this makes any sense anymore. The universe is one big game of tricking you into believing things. And whatever you believe, it does the opposite. If you're watching this, if you didn't buy gold, it would be $10,000 an ounce. But because you did, the butterfly effect, somehow you clicking that button to buy, somehow changed the electrical current of the grid when you needed to take that little drop of electricity, just enough to flicker a streetlight somewhere on the other side of the planet in Manila, which caused a motorcycle crash into a veterinarian's office, and the veterinarian office couldn't finish their operation on a dog, and that dog died, which upset the owner, which stopped them texting their sister who lived in Abu Dhabi, and the sister in Abu Dhabi who was cleaning
So this guy,
the sheikh pissed him off, so he decided to
invested a lot of money in Dubai real estate. He had an apartment, a nice little apartment in Abu Dhabi. He spent a couple of $1 million in this whole Gulf region and he had invested money in crypto. And when everything else was failing, he tried to invest, put his money in gold. Now even gold is failing because whatever this guy does is like going to shit. So,
dump the price.
The best point that Andrew Tate made is that maybe all this that we're seeing, people losing so much money, you can't sell any real estate, you can't invest in crypto, you can't invest in the precious metals because everything is going down simultaneously. So this situation could only get worse if there was actually a few people who were sitting in Wall Street in their banks and they were actually profiting on the world being destroyed. Because imagine if there was, sorry for the audio, imagine if there was some person who actually knew that the world was going to burn, who actually knew that America was going to attack Iran and they were going to kill Ayatollah Khamenei. So do they know that the war is going to go on and on for like, it's been like 3 weeks, maybe for the next 5 years. So with insider trading, जो कि हमें पता है कि पूरे अमेरिका के सारे politicians insider trading के अंदर मुलव्वस हैं, it's really the worst situation if there's some sort of billionaire class who's like actually profiting when the world is burning down. And I personally think all these people who are shorting the stocks when the world is going down should have their special place in hell because these are the worst sort of people. So now Japan's who you call this Japan lady is there and she's talking to Trump, and let's just see the video.
why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay, right? You know, he's asking me. Now you believe in surprise?
So Israel bombs Iran's energy.
Pearl Harbor.
Why didn't you tell U.S. allies?
Why are you talking about surprises when you did the Pearl Harbor and United States? And this the fire.
We don't need.
So, I just quickly want to show you.
World's smartest kid.
There's a shortage of fertilizers and there's going to be no food. All the food जो आपके पास खाना भी मटर टमाटर सालन वो सारा कुछ डबल ट्रिपल 4 गुना प्राइसेस होने लगी हैं क्योंकि अगर फर्टिलाइजर नहीं है तो खाना कैसे बनेगा वैसे I don't know there's these people who say that the world is already too overpopulated. We need to reduce the population to like 1 billion. So 7 में से नहीं 7 लोगों को 6 लोगों को मारेंगे एक बंदे को छोड़ेंगे 7 में से. So now Israel is like on another. Let's see.
Further rocket attacks were reported against Nahariya and admitted. Further rocket attacks were reported against Nahariya.
Actually, ये बंदा जो है ना, he's one of the best reporters, and he was in Lebanon, and there was an air strike, a missile that landed just a few feet away from him. He's in the hospital, but he's alive. He's talking, so that's a plus point. But the point is that this guy was exposing the genocide and the Israeli occupation army that was entering Lebanon and that was destroying their buildings, doing like these big missile strikes, hypersonic missiles landing on Lebanon. Because now, when the US soldiers are dying in Iran's war, Israel now has this next front, which is Lebanon. They're quietly invading Lebanon because they want Lebanon to be part of the greater Israel, ladies and gentlemen. So this guy, who was like such a good reporter, and he was reporting in Lebanon, the Israelis got to know about his location, and really, there's someone at our yes, this is Ahmed. So they started bombing the shit out of this person because he was telling the truth. And this is now international news. पूरी internet के ऊपर इस बंदे की वीडियो चल रही है. Let's just watch one more time
And a minute.
what happened. And what would happen? Which are feet
Fucking hell.
Ahmed, you wanna live stream?
Fuck.
You have some advice, words of wisdom about Iran and what's happening. So, Iranian drones struck the largest US Saudi linked Samref oil refinery in western Saudi Arabia, official partner of ExxonMobil, and one of the region's largest refineries, processing over 400,000 barrels per day. US energy giant ExxonMobil is co-owner alongside Saudi Aramco. Strategic infrastructure, any disruptions impact global energy markets. So this is the video that is coming out from तुमने कॉफी शॉफी कुछ आई पी नहीं और वो दराज में पड़ा हुआ सारा अच्छा so United States has ordered the evacuation of Kuwaiti airbase. Bye bye. You damn Americans. We're using the launch attacks against Muslims, and now it's time for you to return to America. Thank you for all your time and all your patience. Iran has fired numerous ballistic missiles at Israel and US bases. We have destroyed all of Iran's missile launching abilities. So these are that's the propaganda that is going on. Donald Trump comes up and he says that he has destroyed all the Iranian capability. They can no longer fire any missiles. They can no longer do what they were doing. Iran's navy has been destroyed. Iran ke paas kuch bhi nahi reh gaya. Iran nisto nabud ho gaya. That's what Trump comes up and says every day. But really, Iran ke jo missile strikes hai, wo kam nahi hue. Initially, they were targeting like 200 missiles in a day, firing into like Qatar and UAE and all these other places. So basically, they started with attacking with 1,000 missiles per day on all the Gulf region and on Israel. And now they're not attacking as much. The missile launching has gone down drastically, and that's what Scott Ritter was saying. They don't need to attack as much now because the US bases have already been struck. And also, other than the US bases, they have also destroyed all their radar systems, all their THAAD missiles, all their interceptors. Everything has been depleted. So now they don't really need to strike Qatar or UAE with like 200 missiles each day. They can just now pinpoint and hit them with like 5-10 because most of them are not being intercepted at all. And this is the real dilemma of these guys. So Beast Arena is here. He's saying hello. Zero Life is here. He's saying hello. And Namanjat is here. He says nice. So thank you guys for everyone who is watching our live stream and who will be watching our live stream. And please do like, share, and subscribe because it's like a free way to share our channel, get us views, and support whatever we're doing. So let's look at another video. Can we watch the video?
Iranian drones are targeting the Baden Air Base in Israel.
Let's just
and judging
watch this video.
by the wave and this barrage of missiles, I think this is one of the largest ones that we've seen. We were wondering how long it was going to take Israel to completely wipe out all air bases and all air travel inside of Israel. And I think now that the Iron Dome is failing, it's a complete catastrophe. It's almost not even working right now. Every time it attempts to fire rounds off, it's firing misfires. rockets are crashing back into Israel.
Fazan
This
video.
is what President Trump had to say about Iran.
What would that deal look like? What are the ask that you're making of the government?
They want to make a deal. They're talking.
So, yeah, which video were you watching? Actually, we were watching the same video.
Say that to you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
And that's why I really asked myself, is Pete Hegseth and the people that are surrounding President Trump, are they giving him honest and accurate information? You would think they were, because people like Joe Kent have made sure of it. And then now he was forced in, or he wasn't forced to, he chose to resign. And we have Iranian leaders right now that are telling us, just today, they put out a report that said America has two options. In response to the retaliation that America struck their oil fields, they said that they are going to turn Israel to ashes. And that's exactly what they're doing. We're watching it happen in real time. And they said, listen, we didn't start this war. We don't want this war to continue. You can stop this war anytime by just leaving. Take your troops, take your military bases. You've destroyed all of our facilities, destroyed our Navy, you destroyed our air base, you set us back 10 years. Just leave us alone. Get out of Iran and stay out. And oh, by the way, every man, woman, and child in Palestine has the right to return. And we're going to make sure of it. So you're going to take your troops out of Palestine as well. Because right now, just today, rockets were hitting Israelis in Palestine for the first time.
Don't forget, they are a country that for years, I didn't know this until recently, they're a country based on disinformation. And now they're using disinformation plus AI. And that's a terrible situation. That's a terrible situation.
A terrible situation. You mean like the last 4 days, every day, you guys have tried to show us that Benjamin Netanyahu was alive when we all know he's dead. And every day you've been putting out AI videos. And just yesterday, a U.S. ambassador, Mike Huckabee, was used in an AI video. So American leaders, American ambassadors are using AI during a time of war to put out misinformation. The video wasn't real. Netanyahu wasn't there. He's dead. So you guys are using it just as well. And you guys have been using it for a long time. And it's legit. It's almost like they accuse you of what they're doing themselves every single time.
They showed all sorts of things happening in the last 2 weeks that never happened. Between their kamikaze boats that don't exist, between blowing up the aircraft carrier, one of the great ships in the world, the Abraham Lincoln, on fire. They showed it on fire. I called the general. I said, General, what's with the Abraham Lincoln? It looks like it's burning down. No, it's not burning down. Not a bullet was ever fired at it, sir. They know better.
Navies are obsolete. That much I'm prepared to say.
So, yeah, you guys were just watching the video. Yeah. Now there was a little disruption with the camera. So you guys were just watching the video, and it shows Donald Trump is blaming Iran for misinformation. He's saying Iran ke aircraft carriers jo hain, they were like fake aircraft carriers. When Iran said that they destroyed the aircraft carriers, that was fake news. Donald Trump was also saying that numerous videos that are going online are fake, but the real point is that we don't even know that baby is alive or dead, because all of the videos that are coming on, first it was the 6 fingers, then he came out in the next video and he was talking about his 5 fingers. Are these 5 or are these 6 fingers? How do we make 6 fingers? So yeah, baby had like 6 fingers. So then the pocket thingy, he put his hand in the pocket and the pocket traveled. Like, we'll show you the video. We'll clip this and show you the video. And there was some weird stuff going on with his pocket. Then he has a ring on his hand, and when his hand was traveling forward, the ring disappeared. And when his hand came back, the ring suddenly appeared. Maybe it was the ring of Solomon. That can appear and disappear. And then he recently comes out and makes this video with Mike Huckabee, I guess, who is like the ambassador to United States of America. And this video is also considered being challenged and considered, but Netanyahu just recently today came out and he was talking about something. He did like a live press conference after so many days. But the point is, we don't really care if Netanyahu lives or not, because the real war is against the Zionist regime, is against the Epstein class and the tiny hats who have been doing the most nefarious kind of things. Because and now 80 more than 80% of Americans are thinking that Trump only started the war to hide the Epstein stuff, because there's like incriminating evidence against Trump. There's like 13-year-old minor girls who have testified in front of FBI saying that Trump was forcing their head, Trump was opening the zip on his pants, and he like slapped this little girl and said, told everyone to like take this bitch out of this place, and some weird nefarious things. And what about the beauty pageants? Because don't get me started on the beauty pageants. It's like a whole new Pandora's box, and that should be the word of this 2026, because Trump has now opened a Pandora box after attacking the Iranians. Because guess what? The Iranians, the Israel wanted to attack Iranians for the past, you don't know what, 40 years. And when there was the Ayatollah actually did fight in the war when Iran was fighting against Iraq, and sometimes when Iraq was winning, the USA was supporting Saddam Hussein, and when Iran was winning, they were supporting. They supported both sides, and they actually did not want any of the sides to win. But at the end of the war, Ayatollah actually was making progress, and he was going towards Baghdad when American Navy ship targeted a bus, a school bus with like 70, 80 innocent people, and there were also people standing by, and they all died. And that is when Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said that I can win a war against Saddam Hussein and Iraq, but I can't win a war against United States of America. So they had a ceasefire, and the Iran-Iraq war ended. It was like a 10-year long bloody battle that like enraged the whole region for such a long while. And you have to understand about the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire has been around for more than I guess 4,000 years, and no one has been able to defeat them. Afghanistan was another thing, but Iran is another beast altogether. Because Iran, ladies and gentlemen, is like much bigger than Iraq and Afghanistan. Iran is much bigger than Saudi Arabia. Iran has mountainous thingies going on. And even now, there's talk about using like nuclear weapons on Iran. They're talking about using 18 tactical nuclear weapons to destroy Iranian regime, to for them to get down on their knees and beg for mercy. And they're also talking about nuking like a lot of places that are on target. But seriously, not even with like 18 nuclear weapons you can seriously destroy Iran, because Iran is so big. If you're firing nuclear missiles in the mountain regions, you can like fire 4 or 5 nuclear weapons, and on the other side of the mountain, no one would ever notice that even nuclear bombs are going on. And you talk about the fallout, yes. There's a nuclear fallout in which there's like radiation, and there's like cancer, and there's like and it goes on for years and years. But we have to remember that in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, people did survive. All they did was they went in their basement. So, will a nuclear weapon seriously do damage to the Iranian people? Yes, it would. It would kill like a lot of thousands of people in just a second, incinerate them maybe, but it won't destroy the Iranian regime because they are too damn powerful. Donald Trump has opened the Pandora box, and now the IRGC is stronger than ever. The mullahs are stronger than ever, and America has no way out of this. Donald Trump has opened secret channels to negotiate a ceasefire with Iran, and then what they do is bomb Ali Larajani, who was like the biggest scholar. The After Ayatollah, he was the de facto Ayatollah. Some people say because Mushtaba Khamenei was not on, nowhere to be seen. He's somewhere underground, and they had the guts to like this guy was a liberal guy. Guy was like a scholar. Many say that he was like the most intellectual and he had a personality. When he used to walk the streets of Tehran, people actually used to follow, and he had these aviator glasses, and he was a larger than life personality, the sort of guy that could lead the Iranian people towards a peaceful negotiation with the United States of America. And what did they do? They just bombed Ali Larajani, and they bombed the gas fields, and in response, now Israel's refineries are on fire, Qatar's refineries are on fire, Saudi refineries are on fire, and America, the whole world is panicking right now because there might not be a bad situation right now, but in 6 months, when you don't have fertilizers, when the energy infrastructure of the whole world is broken and people don't have energy. Now, imagine these Qataris and these Emiratis who were building like these gigantic energy stations for the new AI data centers. How when the energy prices are rising like 4x, how can you make all these data centers around the world? And how can you power them? I mean, it doesn't make sense. And if you can power those AI data centers, then where will the AI investment go? And what's going to happen to the American stock market? That is like the biggest question right now, because it is like the worst situation possible that can happen. So let's watch a few videos today. I don't think that we're gonna do such a long live stream, but I wanna show you guys a few things that are really important. And let me just go and show you guys. So this is.
We're going to fight in the same line. We're going to defeat the same enemy. We're going to be there to support you like we did in Afghanistan. Your troops were moving under our aircrafts, protecting them. And I think that is how the U.S. should look at it. Having a strategic ally is more important than commercial deal, because we are not, like I said, enemies. United Arab Emirates does not want to be a friend of the United States. We want to be the best friend of the United States. I don't think we are a threat to Israel, because we understand that, like we are allies of the United States, Israel is another ally of the United States. The only message I can deliver is they should listen to Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed whenever he tells them something, because he is our guidance and the wisdom comes out of that man. And we look at him and we just worship him.
चाइना सीक्रेटली वर्ल्ड का सुपर पावर बन रहा है. लड़ाई यूएस इजराइल और ईरान में हो रही है.
That is like a very valid point. This guy who is
UAE is not going to go and fight.
Who is this guy?
Of the United States allies. We're going to fight in the same line.
UAE military guy. Let's just, maybe we can watch who this guy.
Defeat the same enemy. We're going to be there to support you like we did in Afghanistan. Your troops were moving under our aircrafts, protecting them. And I think that is how the U.S. should look at it. Having a strategic ally is more important than commercial deal, because we are not, like I said, enemies.
We are no enemies to Israel. Our great leader, the Sheikh of Dubai, is always friends with Israel. So Israel doesn't need to be scared. Hello. Oh my God. आवाज का भी मसला था. There was no. So yeah, Sometimes we're having some issues with the voice as well. Let me just check. Maybe. No, sorry guys, sorry for the little disruption, but the video that I was showing you exactly proves my point that these guys were in bed with the Israeli lobby. They were doing all the bidding. They had their bases in their own countries. They had their military presence, and that's where the Israelis, the Zionists, and the Americans were launching these attacks on innocent civilians. So let's just watch a few more important videos. So this is the video, the most important video.
It's not just the oil. The worst thing is it's planting season.
Yeah.
Russia's 40% of the world's chemical fertilizer. The Gulf is another 30% of the world. That's 70%. The EU's not cut itself off from everything, so they may have famine
25%
in
of LNG comes out of there. 30% of the fertilizer comes out of there. 20% of the oil comes out of there. I mean, when you just add all these things up, and then you say, let's look at this situation 6 months from now, it's not a pretty picture.
Now imagine, unless the U.S. government walks in and puts caps on gasoline prices and export caps so that it doesn't start flowing out to more expensive markets, I don't think they'll do it because the donor-owner class will take a hit then. American taxpayers are going to be broke.
Are you convinced that these guys went into this without thinking a lot of this stuff that you and I are talking about through?
Absolutely.
They really thought this was going to be over lickety-split.
Look at Venezuela.
Lickety-split.
Plan A, we capture Maduro. Plan B, I mean...
I mean, you just heard Rick Sanchez talking about the Operation Blind Fury. First it was Epic Fury, then it became Epic Disaster. Now it is called Operation Blind Fury. Because what was America even thinking? Don't they know that Iran is capable of ending all the energy infrastructure? They're able to control the Strait of Hormuz. And you got Yemen on the other hand, so there's no Red Sea, no Strait of Hormuz. How is the world even going to function? And I mean, these Americans and these Zionists are spineless people who don't consider there's a God. They just want their pockets to be like filled every day, every night, and they don't care about anything. But when you're fighting against a population who really believes in God, can you really justify this war? Can you really win this war? That is the question. And
very first time.
And let me show you a few more videos. Can we go to the videos? Can we watch the video?
Astaghfar.
Yeah.
Allahu Akbar.
American Patriot system to repel Iranian missiles that are hitting energy fields in Saudi Arabia. So these are the missiles that are falling on Saudi Arabia right now.
There is no red line that they have not crossed. And the last one, and the most dangerous one, was happened only last night, when they crossed a very big red line by attacking nuclear facilities.
Now there's like videos going on of these big explosions in Iran, and they are on the nuclear facilities, and I don't know how dangerous that would be and what the nuclear fallout is, but we hear that there were Russian scientists who were working in these power plants, and some of them might have died, and this is like a really dire situation. And lastly, we want to talk about this guy who just resigned. And this guy's called Joe Kent, and Joe Kent was responsible for all the intelligence and stuff. And Joe Kent says that because he went to in an interview with Tucker Carlson, and he just said that the last time he met Charlie Kirk, what did Joe Kent hear from Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk was saying that please somehow stop America to go to a war with Iran. Let's just hear the interview and then I'll explain
and then
what
he
really
suddenly
happened.
publicly assassinated.
So let's just.
And then Charlie Kirk is killed publicly in a very horrific way, and we're not really even allowed to look into that at all. And Charlie Kirk was one of President Trump's closest advisors, and he also advocated heavily against a war with Iran. He was in the Oval Office in the lead up to the 12-day war. I wasn't particularly close with Charlie. He was very gracious to me when I was running for Congress, very, very supportive. So we knew each other. And the last time I saw Charlie Kirk on this earth was in June in the West Wing, in the stairway. And I said hi to him, and he looked me in the eye, and he said very loudly, and it's a small, you've been in the West Wing, it's small, it's a tight space. And he said, Joe, stop us from getting into a war with Iran.
Joe, stop us.
He was single-minded. He walked off, and he went, I believe, into the Oval. So when one of President Trump's closest advisors, who is vocally advocating for us to not go to war with Iran and for us to rethink at least our relationship with the Israelis, and then he's suddenly publicly assassinated, and we're not allowed to ask any questions.
Now we know the truth about Charlie Kirk.
It's a data point.
Charlie Kirk did not want Americans to go to a war with Iran, and that is why Charlie Kirk was killed. And now Joe Kent is also under an FBI investigation, which is just the worst of the worst situation. And let's watch a few. So earthquakes in Iran are struck shakes on the side of the road. And it's not natural. Dust doesn't rise on earthquakes, especially from mountains. So this week, 4 earthquakes. Is this natural or nuke test? And that's what people are hearing, that Iran might be testing nuclear weapons in their mountainous areas because there's like 4.4 magnitude, 4 magnitude earthquakes going on, and it doesn't seem that natural.
And recovering from the Hormuz shock will be
so
enormous,
this is,
and underscores the regime change towards physical assets. Jeff joins us now for more. Jeff, welcome to the program. It's always good to catch up with you, sir. Fluid environment, so allow go through the headline of the last 5 or 10 minutes or so. One headline, one report coming from Iran that their energy assets have been struck. Now, I have limited information beyond that, but Jeff, from your standpoint, in the week since we last spoke, has this got worse or better?
Worse. I like to call it molecular contagion. You know, last week we were talking about shortages in Singapore. You know, prices of jet fuel spiked to $230 a barrel. This week, you know, it's in Rotterdam. Rotterdam's $220 a barrel. Thailand, Philippines, New Zealand, Australia. So this thing's going intercontinental. And, you know, so you look at Singapore, Rotterdam, the spread, there's no more price spread, there's no more spare barrels, there's no policy fix, and it's just physics at this point. And I want to emphasize, these are physical supply chains, and that the idea of around financialization and the ability to print money doesn't apply here. And I think the title of that piece says it all. You can't print molecules.
Jeff, with that in mind, where and how do you think we're underpricing this risk still in financial markets?
That's the peculiar thing about this, is that you look at the paper markets, they've entirely disconnected from the physical markets. Crude oil on an Oman basis, you know, on the other side of the strait, the side that's free, spiked to $173 a barrel yesterday. Crude delivered in Asia is a blend of Dubai and Oman, which is trading somewhere around 130 and 170. Today, this morning, they're call it 120 to 150. So you're delivering crude into Asia at somewhere around $130 a barrel. Product prices are spiraling above $200 a barrel. So the disconnect is between the paper market, which is sitting around 100, and the physical market, which is showing a very different environment.
Jeff, some people have speculated that's because of certain types of manipulation in the futures market, and that's the reason why you have seen this gap blow out. Do you think there's credence to that?
You know, you could argue that Monday last week, you know, there was a mysterious 11 million barrel seller. I don't want to get into that. It's not enough to really change the dynamic. I think that the bigger factor that was likely driving WTI and Brent and staying lower is the price of Urals, Russian crude oil. It's rallied $65, $70 a barrel once they took off the sanctions. So WTI and Brent were the high-cost barrels. The Russian was the cheap. What happened? You closed that gap. And now that you've closed that gap, you don't have any more spare barrels in the system, and this rest of the complex likely to start to rally. I go back to the point that John started with is, we're dealing with an enormous supply shock. By the way, the supply shock is almost equal to the demand shock during COVID, and we know what that did to global supply chains. So
yeah, we just heard the professor. So DB is here. DB is in chat, and DB saying hello. And he says, "Bhai, chat nahi padhe?" Question mark, question mark. Okay, I just read your chat. How are you, brother? And how's your day going? Welcome to our live stream. And yes, we are reading your chat. Please do ask any questions that you have, and we'll answer as best as possible. So yes, now the last video that I just showed you was upon what will happen in the prices that are going on, because already in Oman, the prices have gone upwards of $173 a barrel for Brent crude. And we know that in the paper market, the international market, the price of Brent crude is almost around $100. It went to like 115, but then it crashed to 85. Now it's back to 100 or 108. But that's the point. Also, in the precious metal markets, the COMEX is very low, extremely low on silver and gold, and they can't give deliveries for all the future contracts that are open. And there's glitches going on in that market as well. The private credit market is going in like this astronomical collapse, and it's like everything is like burning in the financial market, and that is like a strange phenomenon. So there is a decoupling of the futures market and the precious market and the physical market, because there might be like this figure going on the NASDAQ or the S&P or the New York Stock Exchange, some price for a commodity, but in actual, when there's like a war going on, when like 20% of the LNG supply is gone, so who is going to sell you on the price that America is quoting? So America either has to come in and has to put like a price cap on the prices, which would like devastate any politician, because all these American politicians are obviously funded by APAC, which is like a foreign entity, and there's like this donor class, and the donor class won't be any happy with Mr. Donald Trump on putting a cap on the price of fuel, of the price of gas. And this is like such a big devastation for Donald Trump, because he can't go anywhere. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, was the one to get him in this mess. And now he can't back off. He can't go in. The best possible solution for Mr. Donald Trump is to say that he just won the war and admit that he cannot further go into this end of the world, Armageddon situation. And with all his stock markets falling, with all the energy gone from this world, he just needs to cut and run away. But that's like the biggest decision that Donald Trump could ever take, because the Epstein class. Now in my imagination, now when the picture is getting clearer, now the point with Jeffrey Epstein, this guy who is like a pedophile, and we now have like thousands and thousands of messages from all the people, from the bankers, from the modeling agencies, from the president, from the politicians. Everyone was involved with Jeffrey Epstein. And it seems like the only people who weren't involved with Jeffrey Epstein were the people who weren't invited by Jeffrey Epstein. Because anyone that Jeffrey Epstein wanted to meet was like certainly sitting with him and was like raping and killing and murdering the babies. And that is the point. maybe Jeffrey Epstein and George Soros were helping the BJP party. They were helping Narendra Modi all across the world. So think of the influence. And then we hear about the story that Elon Musk tries to meet with Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein is somehow busy. And Jeffrey Epstein says, no, I can't meet you. I have these problems. So even the multi-billionaires, the richest people in the world, so yeah. So DB saying आवाज नहीं आ रही. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties, but the voice is back, I think. So yeah, DB, thank you for commenting. And DB was saying, what was DB saying? DB was saying something about the production. इतनी महंगी production कैसे है? ये हम लोग भी अभी discover कर रहे हैं कि कैसे इतनी महंगी production है. And DB Fazan is saying नज़र लगा दी. Elite class पाक की इतनी कम influential है कि आपके leaders को नहीं बुलाया. शहबाज को नहीं बुलाया. अच्छा, अब आ रहा है. Thank you, DB. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to whatever we're saying. And I guess it's like a few hours, like an hour or 30 minutes since we've started. So we were discussing today about all of the things that are happening in the world. Basically, we're discussing about the financial chaos that is happening in the world. All the LNG pipelines are burning. There's nothing good that is going to happen in the next month. DB is talking about the Epstein Island. Yes, and we today we talked about Epstein and how the only people who are not in the Epstein list were the ones who were not invited by Epstein. Because even when we're talking about Modi and the BJP party, they were also being funded by George Soros and the Epstein class. And that is what Iran is repeating again and again, that we are not in a fight against Donald Trump. We're not in a fight against Bibi Netanyahu. We're in fight against the Zionist class who has been ruling the world, and they have their agenda of creating whatever the greater Israel or exploiting the stock market, or keeping the third world, the Asians, the Chinese poor, while they benefit. They're exporting their inflation to the whole world. And we talked about how Israel just targeted Ali Larijani. They targeted the nuclear facility in which Iran was producing its energy and everything, and that is in flames right now. We have reports of a lot of Russians that have died. We also talked about what happened, what is going to happen to the energy sector in like 6 months, because when there's no gas, there's no food. When there's no gas, there's no fertilizers. When there's no fertilizers, again, there's no food. And with the rising cost of transportation and a shortage of fertilizers, where will food prices be? Pakistan and India are unfortunately the places which are going to be influenced the most, because we are more dependent on the Iranian infrastructure, the energy infrastructure, than anyone else. Also, we import a lot of LNG from Qatar. And this is going to lead us, the next 6 months is going to be like the worst situation that we can face. And what do you guys think about the situation that is going on? Maybe you guys can give your nice comments and we can read it out loud as well. And with that, I think it's been a while, and we need to end our live stream because it's the last Roza. And for everyone who will be watching this on Chandrat or Eid, happy Eid to all of you guys in advance. And it's always such a pleasure being in these live streams. I hope I was entertaining to you guys, and I hope I showed you a lot of interesting stuff that is going on right now that will impact all of us. And what can we do? That's where I want to end this live stream. What the hell can us guys do? Because the only thing that could stop this war is like Donald Trump and his midterm elections. And I mean, all of the world should be like screaming on the top of their lungs and telling Donald Trump, in whatever language you know, tell this guy to be like a little mindful. Tell him to quit this madness, because that would be the hardest decision that Donald Trump could ever make. And that's the only decision that could get us out of this World War III scenario, out of this Armageddon, because it's like a tit for tat. If Israel attacks Iran, Iran attacks Israel and its proxies, and this war, there's destruction, massive destruction on both sides. And who is going to hurt the ordinary people of this world? So with that, thank you a lot, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. And with that, we're going off air, and we'll see you again real soon in the next live stream.